believe, and no matter who they love or how they identify. So that was the 27-second one to the 1 minute and 28 seconds. I time these pieces. I sent an email out asking if someone on the climate crisis team was going to do the land acknowledgement this morning. I did not hear a response. Is there anybody planning to do that? Online? No. If not, I will do it myself. I will do it myself. The sanctuary of the Universalist Unitarian Church of Halifax is in Shabuktuk and Mi'kma'ki, the ancestral and unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq, subject to the peace and friendship treaties of the 18th century. I now invite you to take a few deep breaths. We enter into this time that we call worship, where we turn with intention to the things that are worthy of our attention, and we do this by lighting a chalice. And our chalice lighting words this morning come to us from the American poet Maya Angelou.
If you're gonna say them, can you say them in here?
Yeah, sorry.
I got the mic here. Ready?
You just trying to light this thing. Just one light.
I'll let you say.
Yeah, I'll just go back here. I can write down as many reminders about the mic, and I still don't remember. Joy is a freedom. It helps a person to find his or her own liberation. The person who is joyous takes responsibility for the time they take up and the space that they occupy. You share it. Some of you have it, and you share it. That is what joy is. When you continue to give it away, you will still have so much more of it. So, well, welcome. Joy. I have to be honest with you, I volunteered to be the service leader for this particular Sunday with absolutely no idea of a topic, just to try to fill in a Sunday. And I'm also have the dubious task of writing the article for our newsletter over the summer about our services. And so I sat at my computer 2 weeks ago, about 2 hours before the deadline, and wishing I could just put to be determined, staring out my window, and the word joy suddenly appeared in my brain. And I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was the sound of the brook or just the sight of the trees, and they were so green that day. So then I did a quick Google to get an idea of what I could actually say about joy. And I found this really trite article with those positive messages, that people, affirmation messages, and they were all about happiness. And I'm like, yeah, I don't want to talk about happiness and being happy all the time. I want to talk about joy, those inexplicable moments. I don't want anyone to tell me that I should be happy all the time, no matter what's going on in the world or in my life. But I do recognize that there are these moments of just joy. And then I read this, which I said, when it rains, look for rainbows. When it's dark, look for stars. And then I thought, my first reading was, yeah, that's just a Pollyanna statement. But then I was taking it literally. And then because I was taking it literally, something gave in my brain, because my immediate thought was, when it rains, I don't look for rainbows. I listen for the foghorn. And then I remembered that I get really happy when I hear the foghorn, because the foghorn tells me that I'm home. And it doesn't matter that I've been home now over 5 years. Every time I hear the foghorn, I am filled with this sense of joy. Many years ago, I had small Hodies. My surname is Griffin Hody. My children's surname is Hody. And At a certain age, children find joy in the silliest things, and we can look back and find joy still in the memories of those silliness. And one year we picked up a CD of collected Christmas songs. And on the CD was something called Gaudeamus Hodie. The Latin words mean rejoice today. And the tune we used to sing in guide camp to English lyrics, which were, oh, be joyful, oh, be jubilant. But Max and Arden took great joy at singing the Latin, and I have joyous memories of the strains of Hody just running through the house at Christmas. And it's in our hymn book, in our opening hymn, 390. Yeah. We sing with joy.
Yes, let's
Rejoice
sing with
today.
joy. So there's 1, 2, 3 parts in it. I don't think we're gonna divvy that all up. Let's just sing through it and
Maybe like a couple of times.
yeah,
Really
exactly.
joyful. Stand if you want to, dance if you want to.
Hey, that's my thing. Good. I like that it's transferring. Okay.
I won't dance because I'll fall off my stool.
Gaudeamus, Gaudeamus, Gaudeamus Hodie. Gaudeamus, Gaudeamus Hodie. We're gonna go higher. There we go. Gaudeamus, Gaudeamus, Gaudeamus Hodie. Gaudeamus, Gaudeamus Hodie. Number 2. Awesome. It's a good melody.
At this time, or at least in the way I'm doing the service today, we have a time that we acknowledge joys and sorrows and complex truths. And we bring our hearts into this sacred space of community, and we open them up to each other so that those of us who carry pain might be comforted by the presence of a loving community, so that those of us who are happy and might well share our joy see it multiply in others. And those of us who carry complex truths might find a welcoming space to process and make meaning of all that life brings. I need the handheld. Can I have the handheld mic? Is it on? Okay. So we have the our community well here, and it holds all of our stories, and it's a place we come to be held and loved. And the water reminds us our connection to each other and to all life and to the earth itself. And I'm going to put a stone right now for all of the joys that we hold that we're not going to say. And then I'm going to invite people to come up if they have a joy or a sorrow or a complex truth, and they can speak or not speak and place a stone in the well of community.
My joy is that Sawyer and I and her boyfriend have found an apartment to live together in, which means for the first time in 3 years, I will have a stable place to live.
Yay.
Well, this isn't a wild joy, but it's a relief. Oh, Jesus. I don't really want to go back there. I had to go, my family doctor, before she quit, referred me back to my surgeon because I had a knee that pinched and hurt and stuff like that. And I thought, why do I go to a surgeon? I don't want to do that all over again. Well, to my relief, all I have to do is go get a 2 centimeter lift in my other leg, which is short. So that was a joy. And actually, Jimmy came with me. We had the same surgeon, and he's now getting involved for his other hip that's hurting.
Wendy online. Oh, that's lovely. I'll put a stone in for her. Wendy is in Ontario, and she's filled with joy of friends and family she hasn't seen in over a year. So there's a stone for Wendy's joy. And Barbara? Yes. Okay.
Yes. Okay. I would like to report a joy. Anna Lutenbrain, who is married and has a baby, came to visit me with her baby boy, little Alexander Perlinger. And baby Alexander speaks English with his mother, French with his father, and he loves music. So my granddaughter parked him in her choir, and he started to sing. See whether you can get the language. Freude, schöner Götterfunken, Tochter aus Elysium. Wir betreten Freude trunken, himmlische dein Heiligtum. No.
Dankeschön. And that fits perfectly into our theme of joy.
And the baby sang it in this language, which is German.
Yeah.
He's never heard German before.
Well, that's lovely. Thank you, Barbara.
My joy is I'm looking right at him over here. Haven't seen our friend Bob in forever. He was my doctor 1,000 years ago when I was a child, and so and so it's lovely to see him back in town, the roundabout.
I'll go put stones in for Amy and Barbara's joys.
He's got such a great smile. It just warms up the room. And the Florida tan.
Barbara's joy and the joy of hearing Ode to Joy sung in German this morning. And Amy's joy at seeing an old friend. And I'm going to add one more stone for all of the sorrows that remain in the silent sanctuaries of our hearts. Oh, sure, see.
My joy is I did a workshop, a 3-hour workshop yesterday, and it was on compassionate brush and presence. So we were just making circles and lines, and I really got a lot out of it. So I need to get myself a really big brush so I can imitate what we were doing.
Okay, thank you. So during the summer, we don't have a a service necessarily, unless it's someone's moved to do a full service with readings and all of the bits that go into it. We have this morning what we like to call coffee and conversation. But I see everyone's really, really good, and they didn't bring coffee into the sanctuary. And I should have said earlier that you're quite welcome to do so for coffee and conversation. Marilyn's going to go make more coffee. And really, I'm just going to share a couple of thoughts on joy. And then it's up to the rest of you to join in the conversation. I found a quote from E.B. White that seemed to explain how I feel about joy. Because I don't equate joy with happiness. I can experience joy in the middle of great sadness. Joy to me is something unexpected. Sometimes it's the natural world that just jumps up and yells at you, no matter how tired you are, no matter how cranky you are. And it can be really, really simple. Like when I was coming home last night in the heat and lugging stuff up my stairs, and I was overwhelmed by the smell of the roses in my front yard. And I could dwell on the fact that I haven't pruned them for years and the multifloras are taking over, but they're wild roses and they're crazy and they're beautiful. And all you can smell this time of year is roses when you walk into my front door. And that's a thing of joy. Sometimes the things come in just unexpected human interaction, twinkle of someone's eye, just someone saying, some stranger just looking at you and saying hi. When I think in my memory of a joy of the natural world, I think most of us who were living in Nova Scotia in the spring of 2020 can remember that absolutely incredible sunset the day after Portapique. I remember feeling numb and overwhelmed at everything I was seeing in the news. And then the light changed in my living room and I was glued to the TV watching all of the coverage. And the light was changing and I ran out to my deck and I saw that sunset. I'm sure most of us saw the sunset. And I ran back in to get my phone because I've never seen anything like it. And then all over Nova Scotia, people were posting that sunset. You could look it up if you don't remember. It was amazing. And I find that sometimes you get joy from people interacting, strangers in the street, but sometimes just joy from the people that bring you food after a death or a catastrophe. And you have this moment of joy in their presence, and it's a lovely thing. So back to E.B. White, who himself is responsible for much of our collective childhood joy as well as pain. If you don't remember who E.B. White was, he wrote Charlotte's Web, Stuart Little, and was the co-author of Elements of Style. And he wrote, "It's hard to know when to respond to the seductiveness of the world and when to respond to its challenge. If the world were merely seductive, that would be easy. If it were merely challenging, that would be no problem. But I rise in the morning torn between the desire to improve the world and a desire to enjoy the world. It makes it hard to plan the day. And I think joy is the ability to constantly being able to experience moments of great joy in the midst of chaos." And those are my thoughts. It's time to share yours, please. You can come up or I can bring the mic to you, but the mic is necessary for Zoom people. Molly, you want me to bring the mic to you, Molly? What? Molly is scratching. Okay. Molly will say something. Do you want to stand here or do you want the handheld?
I'll take the handheld.
Okay, and I'll sit down. My joy is not in my knees. Yeah, it should be.
Hello?
Yeah.
Okay, so I was just thinking about sunsets, and I think we call that pathetic fallacy when the weather complements what's going on in the world. And the same thing happened when we spread my brother's and my mother's ashes. We had the most amazing sunset I've ever seen in my life. And it was one of these ones where the rays come out of the heavens, you know? And it was just amazing. It was joyful. That's mine. There you go.
Somebody must have some joy. Some joy. Something. Frankie. I'm always joyful when Frankie dances. And she didn't dance to Gaudeamus Hodie because she was trying to read the music in the Latin. I have better expectations of you next time.
I'm gonna stand back here because I feel weird having you behind me. I work out in the field a lot, doing fairly difficult surveys, climbing over trees that have fallen down and measuring trees, and it'll be 36 degrees and hot and sweaty and bugs will be everywhere, and I'll be having a truly atrocious time because I'm a very hangry person. And then we sit down for lunch and I look up and I see the sun filtering through these leaves that have survived this catastrophe of Fiona. And I'm just reminded of the resiliency of nature and how beautiful that can be. And sometimes that just recharges me to go through the rest of the day. And I think that stopping and just enjoying the nature around you, even when you're really frustrated, can ground you and can bring you joy and peace in your life to make through the rest of the day.
Bob.
This is more of an immediate local joy, but you know, I'm a devout Unitarian, which is shown by my regular attendance at church. And it's been a weird couple of months for me. I came back from Florida, and my second family, two of my members of my second family are both on the verge of dying. One has got a glioblastoma, and the other one is a woman who is acute Alzheimer's onset and is denying it. Anyway, I have been the last 2 months arranging home care, doing their POA budgets and all that kind of stuff. It's been crazy. Today I had a whole lot of stuff I had to do, and I thought to myself, I just want to go to Unitarian Church. This is a grounding place for me. I was born and raised in a Unitarian church, and the people in the spirit here, even though I'm not here often, it's just a place that I knew I needed to come today. So thank you for being here, and I just wanted to say that. Thank you.
Thank you very much for sharing that, Bob.
Do you want to go ahead with Scott?
Go ahead with Scott.
You can talk whenever. Is somebody trying to talk to me?
Yeah.
I can't hear. Pam, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you, Scott, so you can talk.
Okay. Okay. I have just returned from a 5-week trip to Europe. Most of it spent in Norway, where I have a large Norwegian family. My older son lives there. And I also had a stop in Leipzig in Germany and a visit to Stockholm. The joy of connecting with people that I have had a lifelong friendship with and a deep love for has really been amazing. For example, in Leipzig, I visited a person who's been my pen pal for 65 years, and I've met her on 2 other occasions, and she asked me if I would come one more time in this life to visit her. So my son and I went down to Leipzig. He also knows her. And the joy of being able to sit across the table and talk to her and to confirm the relationship that we've had over 65 years was something that was just powerful. And the same thing happened in Stockholm, another person that I've been in communication with for 65 years. In Oslo, I was able to sit down with most of my relatives and have a one-on-one conversation with them. And the joy is in this human connection that is so powerful, and it just lifts you up. It's a two-way street because I know they felt the same way. That's my joy, and I could tell you much more about that trip, but I won't go into more detail.
I think it's pretty obvious.
No, it's on. Now it's off.
I think it's very obvious to most of you that I get a great deal of joy from refugee work and working with newcomers. And yesterday, Hinda and I went to Windsor and had a lovely visit with Nehru's and Michelle. We got our Michelle fix. She just takes a few minutes and then she's willing to snuggle. So that's really nice. And it was a lovely day. Thank you.
Jessica.
Jessica.
Doesn't mean to.
No, I don't need a mic, but talking about joys, I was just thinking while Pam was talking that the way I get through life, if like something is being like pissing me off or something, I just think of the joy in something. And my mom, when we were kids, she would make us do a thankful journal. So ever since I was 8 years old, I had this thankful journal, and I kind of think it's like a joy journal as well. So I was thinking of all the things that give me joy, and it's like the piano kids I teach, even when I'm so annoyed with them, I'm like, oh, well, they learned this. They told me this story from school. This was like a good moment in their life, and they're teaching English for a bunch of the newcomers. And so I come here Monday or whenever it is, and I'm going to be teaching them a song. So it's just little things like that, interactions, and I think everybody can find the joy in something.
I must say that on occasion when I'm accidentally in church, when Jessica is teaching children and I hear the children playing the piano, it's such a beautiful thing to accidentally come across, and it gives me that momentary thing of joy, because I don't have children in my life anymore. My children are adults and I don't have grandchildren, so it's a joyous thing to come across children every once in a while, and that I don't have to take home and feed and put to bed.
I have a question.
Yes, Barbara.
I see a bookcase there and someone in front of it. So do we have connection to people's homes?
Yeah, yes, Barbara's asking about the people that she sees on Zoom. And so, yes, we have a technology called Zoom that means that when people can't get to church in person, that they can actually go on their computers as long as they have that technology at home. And so this morning we have Scott, and we have Noreen, and we have Wendy, who's on vacation in Ontario, so she's coming from a long way, and Faith and Marie. All these people, I'm waving at them and they're waving. Can you all wave at Barbara? See, they're interacting with us, and that's a joy. Okay, it doesn't look like there's anyone else. The way that coffee and conversation works is that the service leader, when it's truly a coffee and conversation day, has very few thoughts and expects everyone else to fill in the blanks. And that is truth, as I see it. We have a couple of announcements. Joe is going to make one announcement in the hopes that you hear his voice differently from mine. My announcement is that, I still have not found anyone to take over Pride, so tomorrow I'll be contacting them and canceling our entry. So that'll be that, and there will be no presents, even as walkers, this year, which is not a point of joy It's a point of reality. I think part of it is that people are busy with the Indigenous games and they overlap, and that takes a lot of volunteer strength away. That's all I have to say. Joe?
Talking about joy, there's a joy in service sometimes, and one of the things that we're looking for with the board is a treasurer. So if anybody would be willing to explore or think about or want to be involved with the board, but also to be a treasurer role, we would really appreciate that. What's a treasurer? So that it's so vague. Yeah, so you have to go and collect treasure throughout Nova Scotia and then come back and tell us what it is. So what it is, it's about kind of keeping track of our finances and our expenses and what's coming in, and then doing a report to the board from time to time. So it's part of the officers, you might say, of the board. If anybody wants to, you can speak to Pam. All right.
Preferably Marilyn or Darla, who can give you a much better explanation than I can. Treasure hunt, yes, well, that would be a good thing, Frankie. That segs into the next part of our service. One of the regular bits is where we talk about offering. And community is made possible by the offering of our individual skills, our commitments, and our gifts. But the truth is that we need each other and money to survive, to pay the bills. But nobody's worth or dignity is in any way measured by the amount of money that they have or don't have to give. Many of us pledge monthly. But we're going to hand around the plate. I guess it's a bowl. That's like my old language. And we invite you to offer what you can, if you can, to support this sanctuary of progressive spirituality. And if you don't carry cash, it is so easy to donate by e-transfer to treasurer@uuch.ca. It's on the website if you can't even remember that. And somebody still gets that email, and somebody still makes sure that money gets put in the bank. And thank you. And Kath always makes sure that someone takes around the bowl on a Sunday. We have people are going to have to come with more conversation in them, I think, during these things, because it's only 11:05. But I do have a close.
I think we should sit in a circle. I think
That would help. Yeah, there's
repurposing of
the space. Yeah, we did.
of the service,
Well,
that we should sit in a circle, because it's
Amy's suggesting that maybe if we sat in a circle, it's a little hard to manage sometimes because we tried it and then more people showed up, and then we've got people on Zoom, but we can look at doing that. We do have a closing hymn,
Pam,
and it's in the
Excuse
Teal
me.
hymn book.
Pam.
Oh, sorry, Noreen.
I'm here. I'm processing kind of slowly, but since there's time, may I share something? I have a poem, but just a little intro to it. That's
Please
okay?
do.
So while we've been talking about joy, I've been thinking about an incredible loss. That I experienced this past week, and I'm not really coming to terms with it. I'm kind of in denial that this person's no longer with us, and I haven't really had people to share this with. And you can tell how difficult it is for me to even talk about it. There was a dedication of a poem by Khalil Gibran to this person. And it's, I think it fits. So maybe I could just read this poem.
Please do, Noreen.
And the person was, if
I hope that we have all had a most amazing person and teacher in our life that has just changed it. And this person was that for me. So the poem is recognizing a teacher. And it says, the teacher who walks in the shadow of the temple among his followers gives us not of their wisdom, but rather of their faith and lovingness. If they are indeed wise, they do not bid you to enter the house of their wisdom, but rather lead you to the threshold of your own mind. Khalil Gibran. And I've always felt that about you as well. So thanks for hearing that.
Thank you very
That's
much for
beautiful,
sharing
Noreen.
that, Noreen. Before we do our closing hymn, I would like to say that although the newsletter said that next week was vacant, someone has stepped forward. And C. Connor is going to lead a conversation on creativity and art. And I'm looking forward to it. Our closing hymn.
Sorry, I just have something to say before. No, it's okay. Hello, hello, hello. Riley will turn it up eventually. It's about, there we go. No, I just wanted to give a shout out to Michael Smith. Oh my goodness, that woman is crazy and amazing. During the heat wave, was it yesterday? I don't know, 2 days ago, she brought the whippersnipper and she was cutting the grass out in the front. And I'm here at the church all the time and I'm coming here and I'm like, Michael, what are you doing? So, and then she's buying things for the food box still. So if everyone could just bring like a can of tuna or something Sunday mornings, I mean, that would help out all of us. And I just want to say, like, thank you, Michael, because that's crazy. Who picks a heat wave to do that?
We have lots of joy. We have so much joy. It's not even contained in various whatever. It's wonderful. Because, oh, sorry. Sorry about that. I just want to say about okay. One more thing, see, and then we'll have our closing hymn.
Okay. So press the yellow button. There. Now you can talk into it. Okay, now is that what? No, it's not.
Yeah, give it over here for a second.
Oh, the light's out now. Try it now, see.
Okay, now is this happening? Yeah. Okay, so it's going to be a very casual service, and it's on art expression and the chalice, and defining what is your own personal chalice.
Thank you, C. Drum roll for the closing hymn. 1024 in the Teal hymn book.
One of my favorite to play. Stand, sit, dance, don't sleep. You gotta do when the Spirit says do. You gotta do when the Spirit says do. When the Spirit says do, you gotta do. Oh Lord, you gotta do when the Spirit says do. 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 You gotta sing when the Spirit says sing. You gotta sing when the Spirit says sing. When the Spirit says sing, you gotta sing, oh Lord. You gotta sing when the Spirit says sing. You don't need your book. Spirit says sing. Spirit Spirit says sing, Spirit says sing, Spirit says sing, Spirit says sing, Spirit says sing. You gotta dance when the Spirit says dance. You gotta dance when the Spirit says dance. When the Spirit says dance, you gotta do, oh Lord. You gotta dance when the Spirit says dance. Spirit says dance, 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 Spirit says dance. Let's do one more. You gotta do when the Spirit says do. Put the books down. Do when the Spirit says do. When the Spirit says do, you gotta do, oh Lord, you gotta do when the Spirit says do. Everyone, Spirit says do, 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 Spirit says do. There. Man, I need to show like extra energy for
Our
all of you.
closing words as we extinguish our chalice are from Rabindranath Tagore. I slept and dreamt that life was joy. I awoke and saw that life was service. I acted, and behold, service was joy.
What are they supposed to do?
Okay, chalice is out. That's it.
Yes. While you walk out, we'll sing. We have spent